There comes a moment in life when pain becomes necessary. Not physical pain alone, but the deeper pain of realizing you have betrayed your own potential for far too long. You wake up one day and understand that the greatest damage done to your life was not caused by enemies, critics, or bad luck. It was caused by the weaker version of yourself, the version that chose comfort over growth, excuses over responsibility, and distraction over discipline. Most people spend their entire lives avoiding this truth because truth demands change. Truth demands sacrifice. Truth demands that you stop pretending and finally confront the person you have become. Stoicism begins at this exact point. It begins the moment you stop blaming the world and start rebuilding yourself. Marcus Aurelius understood this battle better than most people ever will. Despite being emperor of Rome, despite holding unimaginable power, he constantly warned himself about laziness, weakness, ego, and emotional instability. Why? Because he understood that the greatest empire a person will ever rule is the empire within themselves. A man who cannot govern his own mind will eventually destroy his own future. That is why discipline matters. Discipline is not about punishment. Discipline is about freedom. The disciplined person wakes up with purpose instead of confusion. He moves with clarity instead of impulse. He controls his emotions instead of becoming controlled by them. And in a world filled with weak minds and distracted souls, disciplined individuals become rare and powerful. The dangerous thing about weakness is that it rarely appears dramatic at first. Weakness enters quietly. It enters through small habits repeated daily. Sleeping longer than necessary. Breaking promises to yourself. Avoiding difficult conversations. Escaping responsibility through endless entertainment. Choosing comfort instead of growth. Day after day, these actions seem harmless, but over time they slowly destroy confidence, discipline, and self-respect. Most people do not ruin their lives overnight. They ruin their lives gradually through repeated acts of self-betrayal. And eventually they wake up feeling lost, anxious, and frustrated without understanding why. Stoicism teaches that every action shapes character. Every decision strengthens either your stronger self or your weaker self. This means your daily habits are not small things. They are shaping your destiny. The weak version of you survives through repetition. The disciplined version of you is also built through repetition. This is why your routines matter more than your intentions. Many people intend to become successful, focused, confident, and disciplined, but intention without action changes nothing. The Stoics respected action because action reveals truth. Anybody can speak about discipline. Anybody can speak about goals. But only consistent action proves commitment. The disciplined person understands that feelings are temporary, but principles must remain stable. He does not ask himself whether he feels motivated. He asks himself what must be done. That mindset changes everything because it removes excuses from the equation. Motivation disappears quickly. Discipline remains even during difficult days. Modern society profits from your weakness. It profits from your distraction. Every application, every advertisement, every endless stream of entertainment is competing for your focus because attention is power. Most people today no longer control their own minds. Their attention is constantly stolen by noise. They scroll endlessly while their dreams slowly die in silence. They consume instead of creating. They react instead of thinking. And over time this destroys mental strength. Epictetus warned that a person becomes a slave when they lose mastery over themselves. Think about how powerful that idea is. If you cannot control your impulses, you are not free. If you constantly surrender to distraction, you are not free. If emotions control your decisions, you are not free. Real freedom is self-control. The Stoics believed this deeply because they understood that external success means nothing without internal mastery. Many people appear successful externally while internally they are weak, anxious, dependent, and emotionally unstable. Stoicism teaches inner strength first. It teaches you how to remain calm during chaos. It teaches you how to think clearly during pressure. It teaches you how to endure hardship without collapsing emotionally. This is why disciplined people become mentally untouchable. Their peace no longer depends entirely on circumstances. Their confidence no longer depends on approval. Their focus no longer depends on mood. They become stable because they have trained themselves through adversity. Most people fear discomfort more than failure itself. They avoid difficult situations because discomfort threatens the ego. But Stoicism teaches that discomfort is necessary for growth. Without resistance, there is no strength. Without struggle, there is no transformation. Every powerful person you admire was shaped through adversity. Strength is never created through comfort. Comfort weakens ambition. Comfort weakens discipline. Comfort weakens resilience. That is why voluntary hardship is important. The Stoics intentionally practiced discomfort so they would not become slaves to pleasure and convenience. They trained themselves to endure hunger, cold, exhaustion, criticism, rejection, and uncertainty because they understood that life itself would eventually bring these challenges anyway. A disciplined person does not wait for hardship to arrive before preparing mentally. He trains himself daily. Every difficult workout becomes mental training. Every early morning becomes mental training. Every moment of restraint becomes mental training. And slowly the mind changes. You stop fearing difficulty because difficulty becomes familiar. This is why discipline creates confidence. Real confidence is not loud. Real confidence is quiet self-trust built through repeated proof. Every time you keep your word to yourself, your confidence grows. Every time you resist weakness, your identity changes. You begin seeing yourself differently. You stop identifying as lazy, distracted, or weak-minded because your actions no longer support that identity. One of the biggest lies people tell themselves is, "I will change tomorrow." Tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next year. And eventually years disappear while potential remains unused. Stoicism destroys procrastination because Stoicism constantly reminds you about mortality. Seneca warned that people waste life as though it will last forever. Think carefully about this. Every day you delay discipline, life continues moving forward. Time does not pause while you hesitate. Your future is being shaped right now by what you repeatedly do. Weak habits create weak futures. Disciplined habits create powerful futures. This is why urgency matters. Not panic, but urgency. An awareness that your time is limited. Most people live as though they have endless opportunities remaining, but the Stoics understood the fragility of life deeply. They reflected on death not to become fearful, but to become intentional. Because when you truly understand that life is temporary, distraction loses its appeal. Petty drama loses its importance. Excuses lose their power. You begin focusing on what truly matters. Discipline becomes meaningful because you realize your days are precious. Every hour wasted becomes painful because you know time can never be recovered. The disciplined person treats time as sacred. He protects it carefully because he understands that his future depends on it. Emotional weakness destroys more people than external hardship ever will. Many people are controlled entirely by emotion. When they feel motivated, they work. When they feel discouraged, they quit. When they feel rejected, they collapse emotionally. When they feel uncomfortable, they escape into distraction. Stoicism teaches emotional mastery. This does not mean suppressing emotions completely. It means refusing to become ruled by them. The Stoics believed emotions become dangerous when they overpower reason. Imagine the power of remaining calm while others panic. Imagine the power of remaining disciplined while others become overwhelmed. Imagine the power of staying focused despite criticism, rejection, or failure. That is what Stoicism builds. A mind capable of stability under pressure. This stability becomes rare in modern society because people are constantly overstimulated emotionally. Every headline, every notification, every opinion demands reaction. But disciplined individuals learn restraint. They understand that not every emotion deserves action. Sometimes strength means remaining silent. Sometimes strength means walking away. Sometimes strength means enduring discomfort without complaint. The weak person reacts impulsively. The disciplined person responds intentionally. That difference changes entire lives. Many people today are addicted to validation. Their confidence depends entirely on how others perceive them. They seek approval constantly because they have never learned to respect themselves internally. Stoicism teaches independence from public opinion. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself repeatedly not to value praise too highly because public opinion changes constantly. If your peace depends on external approval, your peace will always remain unstable. People will criticize you no matter what you do. Some people will misunderstand your intentions. Some people will doubt your vision. Some people will leave your life entirely. The disciplined person accepts this reality without becoming emotionally destroyed by it. He learns how to stand alone when necessary. This ability is powerful because it removes fear of rejection. Once you stop needing constant validation, you become difficult to manipulate. You stop changing yourself to fit other people's expectations. You stop begging for attention. You stop sacrificing your standards for acceptance. Instead, you focus on becoming someone worthy of self-respect. And self-respect changes everything. Because when you respect yourself deeply, your actions begin reflecting higher standards naturally. There is also a hidden loneliness that comes with discipline. Not everyone will understand your transformation. When you begin changing your habits, your priorities, and your mindset, some people will become uncomfortable. Weak-minded individuals often resent discipline because discipline reminds them of their own excuses. This is why growth sometimes requires separation. Not from everyone, but from environments and relationships that constantly pull you backward. Stoicism teaches careful attention to influence because the mind absorbs whatever surrounds it repeatedly. If you spend enough time around negativity, laziness, gossip, and distraction, your standards slowly decline. But if you surround yourself with wisdom, focus, and purpose, your standards rise. The disciplined person protects his environment carefully because he understands its power. He becomes selective with energy, attention, and time. He understands that his future depends on what he repeatedly exposes himself to. This is not arrogance. It is responsibility. Your body also reflects your discipline. The Stoics valued physical training because physical hardship strengthens mental resilience. Every difficult workout teaches the mind endurance. Every disciplined morning teaches consistency. Every act of physical restraint strengthens self-control. Weak bodies often produce weak habits because comfort becomes addictive. But physical discipline sharpens the mind. It builds confidence through proof. You realize you are capable of more than you once believed. This lesson extends into every area of life. Discipline in one area strengthens discipline in others. Suddenly you begin speaking more intentionally, thinking more clearly, acting more decisively. Your identity shifts because your habits shift. And eventually people notice something different about you. Not because you speak loudly about discipline, but because your presence changes. Calm confidence replaces insecurity. Focus replaces confusion. Strength replaces emotional chaos. The truth is that nobody becomes disciplined accidentally. Discipline must be chosen repeatedly. Every single day presents a new battle between comfort and growth. The weaker self never disappears completely. It waits patiently for opportunities to return. It whispers excuses during difficult moments. It tempts you toward old habits during stress and exhaustion. This is why discipline requires awareness. You must notice the moments weakness attempts to reclaim control. And in those moments, you must choose differently. That is how transformation happens. Not through one giant decision, but through thousands of small victories over self. Every disciplined action becomes proof that you are rebuilding your identity. Over time, discipline stops feeling unnatural. It becomes who you are. You stop chasing motivation because your standards become stronger than your emotions. And this is the ultimate lesson of Stoicism: your life changes when you change yourself. Not when circumstances become perfect. Not when society becomes easier. Not when people finally understand you. Your transformation begins the moment you stop surrendering to weakness and start rebuilding yourself with discipline. Kill the habits destroying your future. Kill the mindset keeping you average. Kill the excuses stealing your time. Then rebuild yourself patiently through focus, endurance, sacrifice, and relentless consistency. If this message awakens something inside you, subscribe to this channel for more powerful videos on Stoicism, discipline, emotional mastery, self-control, and mental toughness. Join a community dedicated to becoming stronger, wiser, calmer, and impossible to break. Your stronger self is waiting. Start rebuilding today.